right, I'm here with my buddy Hugo, and this is Barnaby, and they are both MaeDay dogs. And MaeDay is my favorite rescue in LA, even though one of the people at the rescue doesn't really like me anymore. She doesn't return my calls, but we still love them and they love their dogs. Anyway, in this video, we're going to go over how you can teach dogs to stop jumping on people at the door. But before we get to the jumping part, when do dogs normally jump? Is usually when we're at the door, and it's usually because, and there's got a bit of a wind, it's because when people come through the doors, there's a lot of excitement. And there's also things that happen when people come to the door that cause dogs to get excited. An excited dog is much more likely to jump up on you. So one of the things that will happen that will trigger dogs is ringing the doorbell, which we're going to have our guardian do right now. Okay. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how you can use some desensitization and counter conditioning to stop dogs from doing it. And normally what I would do, and I don't have the ability to do it yet, if you can hold that for me, thank you, is I would record this on my phone, but we're the audio of the doorbell ringing on my phone. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to do this the hard way, and this may or may not work. Go ahead and do it again. And again. And again. That last one was the best one. Now for counter conditioning, we want to lower. What we want to do is we want to expose them to the stimulus. The stimulus in this case is the doorbell ringing. But we want to lower the intensity. I do that by either turning down the volume, increasing the distance, or if it's a movement thing, slowing down the speed. In this case, I can't control the volume of the ringer from here. Now, I was able to have the treats right in front of their nose, but because they barked and then they get a treat after that, that might get confusing. So if we have a recording of it, we play the recording on our phone, ding dong, at like 50% volume, they don't bark, then we give them a treat. And after a while, you do that enough, and eventually, then we can raise the volume, and we get to 100%, then we can actually start doing it here. Now, the guardians here just discovered where their doorbell chime box is, which is in the kitchen. So go ahead, and I'm going to have the guardian ring the doorbell again. Now we still had a little bit of a bark. Let's see if I can do that again. Again. Now again, we're getting barks afterwards, so I'm not going to continue this because this is going to train them this is reinforcing what they already have. I'm not giving them a treat, I'm letting them sniff the treat to stop them from barking. So basically, now there's another sound that also the dogs react to, and I'm going to have the guardian trigger that other sound. Same principle. Now this is not associated with the jumping at the door, but the dogs do get excited when they hear that, and that causes a reaction. So again, we're going to have the phone, not with the dogs present, because we don't want to hear any of this. We don't want to hear any of this, and that's okay. I usually don't show the before, but I thought I'd make good footage for this one. But we don't want to hear the dogs barking. We just want to hear that sound clean, and again, play it, and then give them a treat. As long as they don't bark. Your ears can go up, but as long as if they bark, then there's no reward. Otherwise, we're rewarding them for barking at the stimulus. Now we can also do the same thing with same sort of thing. So when I'm doing this, generally when I'm doing this exercise, everybody, I'm not doing it where I am located right now. I'm at the door. So they're even more likely to bark because, yeah, this is the place where people come in. So if I'm practicing this in the bedroom with my phone and they hear the sound and the door to the bedroom is closed, they can't run out here, and we play it at a low enough level of intensity, the dog hears it, but they don't react to it, and gradually get to the point where it's full blast, they're not reacting, they come in here and just a tiny squeak, treat. Tiny squeak, treat. And if they're barking here, then we sit maybe where the camera is. Tiny squeak, give them a treat. So increase that distance until you can find the distance where they can hear the live sound, give them a treat, and they don't respond. Then gradually get them closer and closer, and you hear eventually like you're slamming this thing open and shut. The dog's like, you know you owe me a treat, right? So this is one of the first stages about making sure that your dog understands to help your dog stop jumping, because we're not using these sounds are no longer activating your puppy and making them very aroused. Now, one last little thing is, and this is more complex, so I'm just going to touch on this. So let's say I'm going to have the guardian ring the doorbell one more time. So one more time, what I could do is I can make ringing the doorbell mean go to the dog bed. So I'm going to go ahead and get Barnaby out of the shot right now. Let's say the dog bed's right there. Go ahead and ring the doorbell. So if I ring the doorbell as I'm throwing the treat and the dog's going to the dog bed, after a while the doorbell means go to the dog bed. then I get a treat. And so at first I'm throwing it to get the dog to go there, but after a while I ring it, the dog goes to the dog bed, then I say my marker word and give them a treat. And I would make sure the dog bed is not near the front door of the house because that can make it a little bit more amplified. Okay, now the next stage of teaching your dog not to jump up on you is teaching what I call a replacement behavior. Now I taught these both these dogs off camera how to do some hand targeting. Thanks. Thanks. Now another one that I like to use, this is what my colleagues like to use, what I like to do is play the guess which hand game. There's a treat in one hand, no treat in the other hand. Go like this, yes. And they pick the wrong hand. Yes, I'm sorry, your word is thanks, my bad. I'll try one more time. Thanks. So I don't switch the treat behind me, and I'm just getting them to touch their nose to my hand, and when they touch my nose, if it's right hand, I say the correct hand, I say the marker word to flip the hand over, then they get the reward. If they pick the wrong hand, I flip them over, they don't hear the marker word, and they don't get the reward. So now when I used to teach this, my colleague Christine actually pointed out, she watched a seminar, if I have him sit, with his anatomy, he's more in a coiled leg position and it's easier for them to launch themselves. If they're standing, it's actually more of an incompatible body mechanic to jumping up, although some dogs can jump up like that. So what I want you guys to do is, whether it's hand targeting or guess which hand, let's do this again. Thanks. So after a while, now when I'm practicing this, I'm not necessarily practicing at the door. I'm doing it right now because I want to show you the next step. But you practice all over your house. So you just go like this. And after a while, you go like that, and the dog's like, I know what's going on. But try to do this with them in a stand. If they sit, take a couple steps away, so we're achieving that standing position, which is incompatible or is not as compatible with jumping up. All right, now once we've taught the dogs how to do that behavior, then we want to start recreating at the door. Now, when I go out the door and I'm gone for an hour and I come back in, now we have all the excitement. But I've been here working with the dogs for a couple hours. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep rolling. I'm going to just exit and come right back in. Thanks. And exit again. Thanks. So we're getting the dogs used to this behavior. Now I'm getting down to their level so they don't have to jump up to me. And then I'm playing the guess which hand game. I could also do the hand targeting. There's nothing wrong with either one of those games. Now, another technique is, and I'll show you this one, and I'll make it a little bit more exciting. I'm going to knock. Now, if you watch my hand angle, we'll do it this way for you, buddy. What I'm doing is, if I go like this, what did that achieve?
Yeah.
That diagonal approach. But so if I want to give a treat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this. So it's an L shape. I go down, then horizontal towards the dog's mouth. Now, one of the videos that I watched that kind of was talking about some tips for this, they said when you come in, give your dogs treats so fast, they don't have to jump up. And after a while, then it's, you can come in and the dog's kind of expecting treats. Say 1, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. So eventually it's 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So there's multiple ways that you can go about this. We also need to look and analyze what goes on when we come home. What do we normally do when we come home? Oh, buddy, you're home. I'm so happy to see you. And look at all this great excitement that I'm creating. And I'm going to pet you and reward you, and you're jumping up on me. So if the dog jumps up on you, pet him. They're saying that the humans love it when I jump up on them. Look, they pet me afterwards. So when you come and go, make it a non-event. Don't say goodbye when you come in. If they're all excited, ignore them. Walk on through if you don't have time to do the hand game, which is what I prefer you do. I'll give you some marching orders in a sec. But just walk on in, do your thing, wash your hands, put your purse up, and put your glasses down or whatever. When they're back to this energy, sit. Thanks. know you want a treat instead of a pet. But so now I'm rewarding them when they're in this calm and relaxed state of mind. And if they're in this crazy, frantic state of mind, they're invisible to me. I don't even see them. Now how can we use these principles to teach our dogs to stop jumping at us when they come in the house? So what I would do is, first of all, practice the desensitization part that I started this video out with. So you want to keep on practicing that until you can ring that doorbell and there's no response in terms of the barking. The second stage, and do the same thing with the knock, and I would do the same thing with the mail slot, but different, independent of the jumping, because they don't jump up the mail carrier. Second thing to do, and you can do these at the same time, not overlapping, but not exactly the same time, but practice either with the guest switch hand or the hand targeting in different parts of your house. And then once they get good at that, then come to your door, exit the door, come right back in, boop, thanks, and then give them that treat. And then close the door, go outside, close the door, and repeat. So thanks, you did just come, I'll celebrate that. And so the dogs are practicing the behavior we want at the door, but we're doing it without the excitement that is accompanied when we come and go. And after a while, you can go out the door and wait like 10 seconds before you come back in. Then 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Eventually you're going outside and reading a couple emails, it's 5 minutes, you come back in. They're practicing the behavior you want with a little bit of excitement. And then, but now when you come home and we go on it for a long time, if you're not playing this game, it's like, wow, they're so lame. They don't pet us, they don't talk to us, they don't give us any attention. So after a while, the dogs start recognizing, thanks, and celebrating that we talked about off camera. Every time your dog sits or offers an incompatible behavior with jumping, and you're rewarding, I would celebrate everything. But now after a while, the dogs come up and they just sit down. Now, so the next stage, or the first stage is desensitizing. Second stage is teaching the hand targeting or guess which hand. Third stage is practicing here, where you're gradually increasing the amount of time when you go through the door. In your cars, have treats. If you're bringing groceries, leave the groceries in the car. Come in and practice this game first. I usually enter and exit about anywhere from 5 to 10 or 12 times. And after a while, the dog gets better and better at this. Then when the dogs are done, then you can go grab your groceries. Now, one other thing is you have 2 dogs. Practice with them separately because they cascade off of each other. So maybe one is outside playing fetch, Barnaby's playing fetch while Hugo's practicing this exercise, and then we swap them. Now, gradually we're out longer and longer periods of time, and now when we come in, we're practicing this game, and usually a week or 2, depending on how much you're practicing, when you start coming in, they're ready to play the game because they've practiced this. Now, what about our friends? We have some friends that listen to us, and then we have some friends like me who do not listen to you. So don't invite people like me. What you want to do is instead find your friends who are going to listen to you and explain. We're trying to teach and condition our dogs not to jump up. So can you come by? You live in the area. Can you come by real quick? We'll have a couple beers and drink some wine or whatever afterwards. So they come to the door, exercise them in advance like we talked about off camera. Give them 10 minutes of rest before the person arrives. When the person arrives, tell them not to ring your doorbell or knock. Don't let them see your person walking up the window and have only one dog here. And they come in and they go, boop, thanks. And then your dog is, and then they close the door and exit. Now, when the guest comes in, I might just have them touch, thanks, treat, touch, thanks, treat, without exiting the door, as long as they're not jumping up. And then gradually you get, and then switch dogs and recreate, because the other dog doesn't know this was going on. And after a while, they start forming a behavior pattern. Now, the guardian here, Barnaby over here in the foreground, loves to shake. And when we were trying to teach hand targeting with one of his guardians, he only would do the shake. With me, he didn't do it, because I haven't established that behavior pattern with him. So what you're essentially going to do is help your dogs practice this new behavior pattern with you guys, then with your friends, and then you're going to gradually get more and more friends coming over. If you have 3 friends come over, have them come through the door one at a time. I know it's a little inconvenient, but again, our company motto is everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it. So get it. It's like you can go on a crash diet, or you can adopt a healthy lifestyle. A healthy lifestyle is a better way to do it. Now, one other little thing is you might put a little, I've seen people that have tchotchkes at the door that just says, please don't ring the doorbell. Please call or text us. We're trying to teach our dogs not to jump. If you come in and the dogs jump up on you, freeze. Be the lamest person possible. Do not pet them, or don't shake at them, or don't tell them no. We want the dogs to know that jumping makes humans freeze like statues. There's no reinforcement, but sitting, or not necessarily, but touching my nose with their hands does get a reward. And after it takes about 3 months, if everything's perfect, for a dog to develop a behavior pattern. We're not perfect. This is probably something you should expect after practice over the course of about 3 to 5 months before your dogs get better at it. They should get better, but at around 4 months, 5 months is when you should start seeing them just kind of more interested in touching your hand than they are in jumping up on you. Well, this is my buddy Barnaby Jones. Come here, Barnaby. Sit. Thanks. And this is my buddy Hugo, a couple MaeDay graduates. How about you? Can you sit for me too? This is the part where you sit and make me look impressive. Thanks. Thanks. And this is a video on how you can stop dogs from jumping up at you when they come in the door.